So glad to know you're still right there with us. If you are tuning in, this is Real Talk with Kike. We are still with Femi Lawson, and he is discussing with us the role and the play of accountability on the ongoing crisis we have in our country. And of course, the good transformation can be achieved if integrity and transparency is adopted by public officers holders. Again, thanks for coming to the studio, Femi Lawson. I think we have a caller on the line. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, my name is Fred.
Yeah, what's your contribution today?
Good. I want to an extent, agree and disagree with your guest.
Okay.
Yes, it is true. The Nigerian army have come forward to say that the governor invited the army.
Can you please turn down your radio set so I can hear you properly?
Can you hear now?
No.
Good. We should not forget that there was a curfew that was put in place.
Yeah.
And this curfew was put in place in the midst of burning down of police stations.
Yeah.
Which means definitely, apart from the fact that we are short-staffed when it comes to policing of Lagos, we will not have the police so much on ground to enforce the curfew. So it is a normal thing to invite the military. But Governor Sanwo-olu does not have the power to give the order to shoot anybody.
All right. All right. Many thanks for your submission. What do you have to say to that? Short staff by police?
No, even if we are just a policeman in the whole of Lagos, it's important we correct this impression that no society is governed on the basis of assumption or how you feel or your emotion. Societies are governed by law, especially in the democracy. Our laws are very clear about the role of the military in this country. There was a curfew. What does it mean when we have a curfew? It means stay where you are from 4 p.m. Whether you're in church, wherever you find yourself, that's what it means. And the same government extended curfew from 4 p.m. To 9 p.m. And the Lekki shooting happened before 7 p.m. You understand? So even when you talk about the law, has any law been violated by people who are outside by 7 p.m. for a curfew that is supposed to start by 9 p.m.? That is then the civil authority vested with such power, even when there are curfew or whatever you want to call it, is the police. Whether it is a policeman that is in town or two, our law does not, grant any governor, you understand, whatever lower authority here, the power to deploy the army, into a civil situation like, the Lekki, peaceful protest. So I don't think it is justifiable, and I don't think it is also legal for anybody to assume that because we are short-staffed and because there was curfew, we have been having curfew in this country. And is it statutory that when there are curfew, that you must invite the military? It's not a war.
All right. So
the role of the military is clearly spelled out as far as our laws are concerned.
All right. So Lawson, listening to you, before I go straight to the palliative and a whole lot of other questions I have for you, I saw yesterday how Channels TV, Arise TV, AIT were all fined 3 million naira each by the National Broadcasting Corporation for unprofessional coverage of the NSAS protest. So the NBC implied that their coverage and reports incited more violence. So is this legal from your own perspective under the law, or what is your take of the CPA on this?
Our position is very clear. We've issued a statement on that today.
Okay.
It's an act of declaration of war against the media. It is not the first time, and we will, as Nigerians, continue to oppose it. You cannot gag the media, and it is not.
Can you kindly hold your thoughts, please? We have a caller on the line. What's your name and where you calling from, please?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. What's your name, please?
My name is Valentine. I'm calling from Satellite Town.
Okay, what's your contribution today?
Yeah, my contribution is that the last caller was trying to defend the actions of the government, which is very, very wrong. Even though the people at the Lekki toll violated a government order of curfew, is shooting the answer, shooting of live ammunition to people who sat down on a tollgate with the national flag and singing national anthem is the highest of crime I've ever had. Even though you are ordered to shoot them, you see them, they are not retaliating, they sat down, waving your flag, your symbol, then singing national anthem, you're supposed to drop the gun.
All right, many thanks for your submission. Yeah.
So just like I was saying, you see, there's no justification, just like I said, and what we experienced in that circumstance was a situation whereby, people wanted to prevent the media, from doing their job. Government has its role, supervisory role, to regulate, of course, the conduct of media organizations. But trying to determine how the media does its reportage, how a TV station does its reportage, or how the radio station does it, becomes, an intrusion into a territory that is not the job of the government. And what that is going to lead us to, if we are not careful, is that you get to a point that government will want to vet your script before you come on here. Government will want to vet your script before you read your news. Government want to vet your script before you even make a mere announcement. That is the part this government want to toe by slamming that fine. And I'm very happy by the decision of the proprietors of the media organization and civil society also. We have condemned this and we continue to speak against this because it is an attempt to silence the media. And the moment you take the media away from any democracy, forget it. It is no longer a democracy. This is an institution that is even not only recognized by convention, even our constitution recognizes the role of the media in this democracy.
All right, so last I've seen SERP has asked the NBC to withdraw their illegal fine, and or NBC will also face legal action, saying their action is an infringement of freedom of expression. So, however, where do we draw the line between freedom of expression and national security?
See, of course, for every freedom, for every right, there are limitations.
Yes.
But such limitations must be seen, at the point that it violates the dictates of our law. The Constitution guarantees the right of our people to express themselves freely, to associate freely. And this is what, of course, people can do using the media. And when you now go beyond these limitations that this freedom, like I told you, has, the laws are also clearly spelled out. Yeah, our laws are also very clear about the consequences of going beyond your freedom of expression. That is where you can be sued for libel, for whatever.
All right, many thanks on that. We have another caller on the line.
The government cannot continue to be the judge in its own case.
All right, thank you, Femi. Hello, what's your name and where you calling from, please? Oh, we lost that call. We have another caller on the line. All right, so Femi, listening to you, I think let's digress a little bit. With the exception of Borno State, who have been seen to have shared their COVID-19 palliative, most states of the Federation and theirs in their warehouse, which raised concerns from the masses. So Femi Falana urges Nigerian government to apologize to Nigerians. How should the government win the trust of the masses in this situation? Before you answer that call, hello, what's your name and where you calling from, please?
Good evening. My name is Joshua.
Okay. What's your contribution?
I want to respond to two things.
Okay.
One is the failure of the middle cadre of the three tiers of our government, which is the federal, the state, and the local. I have always maintained this stand that federal government has always remitted what it is to be remitted to the state. The bulk problem that we have in this country, this is my opinion, and I stand to be corrected, is with our state governors. So I don't know what it is that has happened during this palliative that these people have finally now come up to tell us that truly and really they are our problem, because these things have been disbursed to them and now we are seeing this revelation. May God forgive them. Number two is that I am not a prophet of doom, but whatever it is that needs to be done by the media to regulate the spread of fake news
it must be done with the speed of light. If that is not handled.
All right, many thanks for your contribution. As I was saying earlier, Falana urges Nigerian government to apologize to Nigerians. How should the government win the trust of the masses in this present situation that we found ourselves?
The Nigerian people, have been taken for granted a long period of time, especially in this dispensation between 99 and now. Our people have become so relegated that they are not seen even as stakeholders in the democratic project. Very sad. And the only way government can win the trust of the people is by ensuring transparency. Transparency is very key. Because for a state, of course, in all fairness, we must give it to some of these states that they even shared their own palliatives during the lockdown. But the truth is that when the government is not transparent to the point that people cannot trust you in the distribution of ordinary noodles, and things as cheap as Gary, then you begin to, you should begin to question, yourself.
So I agree with what you've just said, and this might definitely be my last question to you because of time. I know public office integrity and transparency should not end with leaders elected in public offices.
Sure.
So it also cuts across traditional and religious leaders. We saw the looting that occurred at the traditional palace. Don't you think we need the stronghold of traditional leaders to ensure stability in this fragile situation?
We actually need not only the traditional institutions, even the community development organizations, the religious institutions, just like you mentioned, and even the families. We must ensure that we decentralize the purpose of national orientation, not only to the traditional institutions, to our religious institutions, to our community development institutions, and to our families. Now we have a serious role to play as a family, as religious organizations, in ensuring that we reorientate ourselves and reorientate our citizens and build trust and ensure transparency. Because if we cannot trust government, we cannot trust traditional institutions, religion, then we are approaching anarchy. And that is what you saw in the last few days. People have lost trust, even at these community levels. Nobody can come out and tell these young people to stop because there's no trust. But they don't even believe that you are not ordering some in your own little warehouse. So the only way we can build trust is by continuously engaging the citizens, by being transparent enough, and this must be from family to community, to religious, to traditional institutions, and to government.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lawson. Your submission so far provides key solutions to some of the challenges we are facing in our country. So our closing remarks, courtesy of Omoluabi personality from Goldberg, is for a nation to move forward in peace and progress, there needs to be absolute accountability from individual homes up to public offices, from both the leaders and the followers. This is when we can achieve the desired goals and objective as a nation. Till I come your way next week, this is where I draw the curtain of the day. My name is Kikelo Matondao, and you have been on Real Talk. Bye now.